and gentlemen, my fellow Africans, today we are on the 1st July 2024. We are here to celebrate the independence of our two countries, Burundi and Rwanda, which obtained independence on this day. Burundi obtained independence on 1st July 1962 from Belgium. Before, Burundi was a German colony until the First World War, which I don't agree that it was First World War. I may call it European World War because Africa was not involved in this war. Then in 1959, the King of Burundi requested for independence. So when the King of Burundi requested for independence in 1961, there was election in the Union for National Progress. And then the Prince of Burundi, who was called Rwagasore, was assassinated on 13th October 1961. This Prince Rwagasore, who was assassinated on 13th of 1961 October, he served as the Prime Minister of Burundi for only 2 weeks. And then after from there, Mabutsa the fourth continued with the monarchy until he gave his son Ntare the fifth until 1966, when a coup replaced the monarchy with the republic. So what does it mean? Burundi became the republic in 1966. Before 1966, Burundi was a monarchy, or the kingdom was under leadership of kings, which we call kingdom. Historically, Burundi and Rwanda have a similar history. So now we are here to celebrate the independence of Burundi, which obtained independence in 1992 on the same day of the 1st July. We say that the Prince of Burundi, Rwagasore, died for the independence of Burundi. This Rwagasore served as a Prime Minister of Burundi for 2 weeks. But I always ask myself, when we say that we are independent, I remain with the question, are we really independent? Are we really independent? Do we practice, are we applying our rights as independent people? When we say that we are independent, we have to compare the aims of Rwagasore and the current situation in Burundi. We may say that among the aims of Rwagasore to fight for independence, it was to end the Belgian colonial rule and achieving the independent Burundi. But now, when we compare that aim of ending the Belgian colonialism, we find now in our African countries, we tried to fight or to end colonialism, but we welcomed imperialism in African countries. When we see among the aim of our liberators, such as Rwagasore, It was to unify or to unite Burundians. But up to now, when you see the current situation, Burundi is among the countries which have many refugees. Many people, many Burundians are stateless, are no longer in their properties. You remember what happened in 2015 in Burundi. So that's why I doubt that we are not really independent to some extent. Now, the aims of Rwagasore was to establish a democratic government. But now, we should ask ourselves if Burundians now are really democratic, or we can ask ourselves if Burundi now is a democratic country. If someone cannot apply his justice, if people are violated, if people are no longer in their properties, how should we stand bravely and say that it is democratic republic, it is democratic country? Totally, when we compare the current situation, which is in Burundi, the problem that Burundians are facing, and the aims of their independence, it is totally different. Now, in Burundi, we see that in his aims, it was to unite Burundians. But we see how tribalism is dominating. We find most of Burundian Tutsi are no longer in Burundi, are in exile. And then we say that we are really independent. I think people deserve the full independence. Now, in Burundi, when you follow the current politics which is taking place in Burundi, you see that people should get what to blame the current president. Last time I heard people complaining about the poverty in Burundi. Where president said for him is okay. He has the stock of food in his house. So when I quoted that, I just remember among the major causes of French Revolution of 1896, I realized that Marie Antoinette caused the French Revolution, where people came and said that we are hungry. And she told them that if you cannot afford cake, if you cannot afford bread, now go and buy cake. And you really know that a cake is more expensive than bread. So which is the same question, which is in Burundi now. What president of country can stand and say that for me, I have everything in my house, while people are dying because of poverty? Really, I see that Burundians are still having journey. They still lack something that they deserve as Burundians. Today, people think that we are independent, but really we deserve full independence as Africans, as Burundians. As I said, today we are celebrating the similar independence of the same countries, which is Burundi Rwanda. For the people who are understanding exactly that language, it is one word actually, Burundirwanda, which means be another Rwanda. You remember that Africa was colonized. And if Africa was colonized, remember that before Burundi and Rwanda was the territories of Germany, which means this was one country. This was the same land, but which was divided by the regions. Now let us go in history of Rwanda. As we said, Rwanda also obtained independence on the same day, the 1st July 1962, after being a territory of the colony of Germany from 1885. You remember that in 1885, that's when the Berlin Conference was taking place with the aim of dividing Africa. Up to 1999, remember that 1999, it was the end of European War, which they call World War, the First World War. So Belgian League nation mandate from 1916 to 1945. 45, this was still the end of the Second World War, which from I call European War, because it was misunderstanding between European countries themselves. But now they call it World War, which Africans will not intervene in that war. So now, in the early 1950s, Rwandan's movement for independence began, led by Rwandan Patriot Movement, which is RPF. The RPF composed by Tutsi refugees who has been forced into exile in neighboring countries like Uganda. You remember that in 1950s, Tutsi of Rwanda were tortured, were in serious cause of war, which was caused by still our mass colonies. Remember that Tutsi of Rwanda were tortured and went in exile in different countries such as Burundi, Tanzania, Uganda, and others went in Congo. Rwanda obtained independence as the first president of Rwanda. When you compare the aims of that independence and today, I really congratulate and thank His Excellency Paul Kagame, who stand in that gap. He became the hero. Actually, I may say that Rwanda really obtained full independence in 1994 when His Excellency Paul Kagame and the first liberated Rwanda saved Rwandans who were killed by Hutus. When we talk about that, it is a long story with the ideology of colonies who planted that seed between those tribes of Rwanda. Now, when we talk about the aims, it was to ending colonial rule. It was to unify Rwandans across ethnic lines. You know, in Rwanda, they have 3 tribes, which is Tutsi, which is Hutu, and Twa. When we compare it to current situation, we see that really Rwanda tried their best to establish the strong relationship between those tribes. Rwanda tried their best to establish the strong relationship with other countries. Rwanda tried to establish, Rwanda tried to build, Rwanda tried to build. Because we say that Rwanda is a new country which was established in 1994 after the genocide. We really thank the achievements of His Excellency Paul Kagame, who stood in that gap and unite people again. Now Rwanda is developed country, is the smartest country. Rwanda is the developed country. As Africans today, we stand to thank His Excellency Kagame and his movement. As Africans today, we celebrate the independence of these two countries, Rwanda and Burundi. Africa for Africans. Thank you.